Hey guys, it's Marisa Rothman,
Danielle at Danielle TBD.
and this is our podcast, We Have Thoughts. And we're here today to speak about the mid-season shows that are coming up. They're kicking off 2013, and there are a bunch. Some are great, some are not.
All right, diplomatic. We're going with that. Okay.
And so we'll be speaking about, I think, more the better side of the
Well,
mid-season
we'll see.
shows.
Because what we've decided to do is to pick one show from each main network and talk about it. And so that's 5. I feel like majority might swing in the not great. We'll have to see. We'll have to see how this goes. But how should we start?
We're going to start off with ABC, and we're actually going to talk about Red Widow.
Yep.
Which, I mean, this is not necessarily the biggest praise in the world, but I think it's the best mid-season show ABC has to offer. That being
Okay.
said, I also think that the worst mid-season show and worst show of the entire year is on ABC in the mid-season.
Really?
Yeah.
That's interesting. I would.
But
I would say worst. I mean, worst that they have. Yes, I wouldn't say worst overall for the year.
Maybe
But
we're looking at
that's-
different shows. But
we're-
yes, Red Widow, I actually, with that one, we saw a different version of the pilot. And so when I watched the new version of the pilot, I was actually surprised that I enjoyed it as much as I did. It's not the best show in the world. It's not probably going to win any Emmys if it continues like this.
Well,
But
I don't
it's-
know if they stick it in the miniseries category like they did with Missing. It could.
Where's my roof to walk on and pace around? But no, it's intriguing enough to see where it goes for me. I felt like, at the end, I think, they added Goran, whose last name I cannot pronounce, but he's very charming. Viznik, yeah, from ER.
I hope that's right.
That sounds about right. That sounds better than I was going to say. But he's got a really great screen presence, and I feel like what he brings to the show and what he brought to the new version of the pilot is enough to keep me interested. And because, the dynamic that he shares with the lead, and I'm not going to spoil too much, but it's an interesting thing to me. So
Okay.
I'm at least willing to tune in for more with that.
Yeah, I mean, I enjoyed the pilot if I thought of it as it was setting up a miniseries. I'll be really honest. I
Fair.
mean, it's not the way the network is presenting it, but I have a feeling that it may be the way that it goes, and I
Right.
would be okay with that because I think to drag on the concept too long, it's just tedious and slow moving. Everything about Red Widow felt very cinematic, and that
Yes.
is usually used as a compliment. But in all honesty, when I'm saying that, I'm not using it as a complete compliment, because while it all looked amazing and that cinematic is a compliment, it also just didn't hold my interest. Like, it felt like, people thought the killing was too slow. I kind of feel like they might feel that way with Red Widow. There's a lot of setup. There's a lot of the pilot spent, explaining who these people are and the world that they're in. And, our lead character has to get herself to a certain point, which I don't want to spoil
Right.
it either, but she has to get herself to a certain point in a morality base that I feel should come a little quicker, because we see it coming. We know it's coming, and the fact that she doesn't makes her look a little naive. And that was a little worrisome. So, yes, I like the chemistry between a lot of the characters. I like a lot of the actors involved in the show, and I think that it has potential. But I think that once those 8 episodes air, and I'm glad that they're airing later in the mid-season so that they can air in a row, take us to the end of the season. I think that's a really smart move. But I feel like once those 8 episodes are wrapped up, I don't know that I need to. And part of this is because I think I know exactly where it's going already, and that's a problem. That's part of the problem. I don't know that I'll want to see more, because if it's that obvious where something's going, it's not fun for me to be ahead of it the whole time.
Right.
No matter how fun you may make the reveals on screen and the journey, if I already knew it, and maybe I don't. To be honest,
To be fair, you've only seen the pilot at this point.
yes, but I feel like the pilot so clearly sets up a short arc.
Right.
Like the way a film sets up,
Right.
you know exactly where films are going,
Right,
and
it
then
does-
they end, and you can be satisfied.
It does
but
feel
that's all I
more
want.
like a cable show than a network show. So if it does succeed and if it does live on beyond the first season, I am definitely curious to see how they structure it next year. Because
Right.
something like Scandal, even we've talked about, that was a shorter first season. It was set to be a shorter second season. So when you expand these worlds beyond what they're kind of conceived
Right.
out to be. It's always an interesting thing to see how they're going to actually fare out in this thing. Like if
Yeah.
this could survive, I mean, the following, which we'll talk about in a few minutes, is being set as a shortened series and
Right, but
so it's gonna be interesting to see if it does succeed, where it goes.
yeah, and I mean, even regardless of length, I also, when I say that where it goes character-wise,
Right.
you know, I feel like in the pilot episode, it's a very somber pilot. I mean, everyone is really morose and like, I don't know that I want to
It's
watch
called
a lot.
Red Widow.
I
They
know.
pretty much tell you right there
but
that it's not gonna be the happiest of
not
shows.
every character needs to be such a downer, and I feel like
Oh.
every character is a downer, and that's part of the issue. Is I don't want to watch depressing people
Okay.
for a really long time. It puts me in a bad headspace. You know, like there are certain shows, Parenthood, I love Parenthood. I've talked about it a lot, but it makes me so upset. I have to be in a specific mindset to want to watch it. So I feel like Red Widow might be similar in that. So we'll see. I mean, I think it shows potential. It has promise. It's definitely, I think, on the smarter, stronger end of the spectrum in terms of production and writing and the acting and everything. Just personally, I'm not all that interested. So we'll see.